Hey guys, this is Justin at the Survivor Review. Today we're going to be talking about Terminator Genisys again. This time I'm going to delve into all the spoilers, all the convoluted plot mess and all that crap. So if you haven't seen the movie and for some strange reason actually want to, don't watch this video. You can watch my other review. I have a spoiler-free review and then come back to this. And if you don't care, like you should, just watch this video and enjoy me talking about a bunch of complicated, stupid plot holes and crap like that. And before we get started, I'm going to talk about a lot of timeline and a lot of really nerdy, just in-depth stuff, just because I'm big on the Terminator series. So hopefully it doesn't get too confusing, because I'm not the best at explaining things. So I'm going to start off with the one thing I've heard many people talk about, but this really confuses me, and this is the timeline. And no, not when they start time traveling and altering the timeline. No, I mean when this movie opens. So the movie opens with Kyle Reese narrating and basically explaining what we explained in the first two films, that the bombs went off in 1997 and all that stuff. So the movie clearly ignores Terminator 3 and 4, which I'm okay with. But either way, it ignores those two movies because those movies have an alternate timeline where Judgment Day happens in 2003 instead of 1997. So in this timeline, Judgment Day happens when it's supposed to. Does that mean it's a continuation of Terminator 2? Because at the end of Terminator 2, they stopped Judgment Day, but does this movie mean that they didn't even stop it? It didn't even prevent it. It just happened when it was supposed to. It makes Terminator 2 really pointless, and it doesn't fit with the ending of Terminator 2. It could if they explained it, if they gave a crap to do that, but they didn't. So I'm not sure if this makes any sense, but it just confuses me where this movie lies on the timeline with the first two films. Because at the end of Terminator 2, they stopped Judgment Day, they stopped it from happening. But in this one, it's like, oh, it happened exactly when it was supposed to, so nothing changed? Well, that makes Terminator 2 pointless. At least with Terminator 3, the postponing it to another year makes sense, and is at least more viable than just, oh yeah, it happened the same day. So that really confused me. I didn't understand where this set with those two movies. It almost felt like it ignored Terminator 2. Because it made all these references to the first movie, and even when the opening scene where they're telling you have to send Kyle Reese back in time, there's no mention of the other Terminators that get sent back in time for T2 and what they have to do for that. So it almost feels like it ignores T2, which I know it doesn't because that's the great one. They wouldn't want to mess with that. Although they rather screw up the timeline. But so that thing, I didn't understand that. That confused me. And then the next thing is the other big plot hole in the movie is just the fact that they don't explain who sent the Terminators back to the 70s. Now this is really important because this is how this whole movie came to be. Is because for some reason some Terminators got sent back in time to the 70s. When did that happen? Who did that? And I get it, they wanted to save it for the next film in this trilogy to make a big reveal, but I don't care. This is something that's important to the plot of this film, so explain it in this film. And the whole scene, they basically just write it off. When Arnold is just like, oh, all my files got deleted from that event. And then they totally never mention that again for the rest of the movie. It's like, why? I was waiting for a big reveal at the end where John Connor explains how it happened, or even the Matt Smith Skynet embodiment, whatever he was, explains that. But none of that happened. So Matt Smith's role in the movie is the embodiment of Skynet. And that's intriguing that they haven't really done that in the previous Terminator film. They kind of did something similar-ish in Salvation, but it was different. But he doesn't do anything. Nothing really goes with it. You don't feel... His character feels very insignificant, to be honest. You feel like he's just there, and it's like, oh, whatever. So, I didn't like that. I felt they should have done more with him, actually. That would have been very interesting. And obviously the big thing to talk about is the plot twist. The major plot twist of this movie that if you saw the trailer for, you already know what it was going in. And that is John Connor is a Terminator. Now, that idea, I'm not too big on it. It's interesting because it's different. And it would have made for a good reveal. To be honest, I thought when I saw the trailer, I was like, okay, it's not that bad. I'm pretty sure when I watched the movie, I would have thought oh, he's a Terminator. But with this whole convoluted time travel stuff going on, that scene where John Connor walks through the door and he has a nice suit on, I would have been like, so John Connor time traveled? This could be interesting. Then when they shoot him, it's like, oh, he's a Terminator. That would have been interesting. No, I would have at least been surprised. I would not have saw that coming. But they showed in the trailer and pretty much ruined it. And then they kind of ruined John Connor's character. So they turned him into the Terminator, which makes him a full-on villain. He never gets redeemed at the end or anything. He gets killed at the end. So there's like going to be no John Connor in the rest of this series? John Connor is the whole thread of this series. It really keeps I know everybody says Arnold is the most important part of this series, but I've always said John Connor is the most important part of this series. You feel his presence even in the first film when he's not even in it. And so to have him get turned to the villain and not even get like redeemed at the end, turned to a good guy, he just gets killed at the end. It's like, oh, whatever. It's like, wow, why would you do that to John Connor? I would have been okay with them turning into a villain if they had done something with him at the end, or at least something with it. But from the way it feels like, maybe they'll bring him back and some crappy explanation in the next film. But it really felt like he's gone and out of the series. So the next film we get to just follow Kyle and Sarah, because that's what the series was always about. Did they not watch Terminator 1 and 2? I don't get it. The old Terminator versus the young Terminator fight scene. I was actually looking forward to it. I thought it could be a lot of fun. It was really underwhelming. Nothing, and it was kind of, not a whole lot happened to it. Though I'll give it this, the effects on the young Arnold, to make him look like the Arnold from the first film, were really good. I actually really liked them. Yeah, they were dodgy at times, but it's the best you can do with this technology, you know? So I'm not going to really complain about it, but I thought he looked good, even when, especially when he got the side of his face blown off. It looked just like Arnold, just with the face blown off. It actually looked really good, and I really liked that. So I thought that was good. The effects were good, just the whole fight scene was, and him getting hit with the shotgun and keep on running, whereas in the first film he gets knocked down by a shotgun. Really stupid and inconsistent. So that fight scene was a little underwhelming. I didn't hate it. But yeah. Also with the 1970s timeline, so I'm kind of just jumping back and forth. This is a little unorganized. What I don't get is, they say the T-1000 got set back in time. So were they able to hide from the T-1000 for 10 years until 1984? Like, the T-1000's pretty dang good at what he does, if you've seen T2, and even in this film. So how are they able to get away from him for 10 years? And how did... The movie doesn't show what would have been more interesting. It would have been more interesting to follow the kid Sarah and the Arnold Terminator in the 70s, see what happened with that. That would have been a lot more interesting than what we got. But it just doesn't make sense that they were able to hide away from the T-1000 for that long. Were they? Or were they in constant battle with them throughout the years? I don't know. They don't tell us. That didn't work. Also, whereas I didn't mind the T-1000. Mind is the actor who played him. I thought was good enough. It's the character. He was just there to be a T-1000 from the first film, for the second film. And also, when was the T-1000 able to bring Terminators back to life? Just by dropping some liquid metal into the skeleton and into the chip. I mean, that just seems stupid to me. And then the ending when Arnold gets thrown into the liquid metal and turns into a liquid metal Terminator, I don't get how that works. How could you get turned into a liquid metal Terminator with the endoskeleton? I don't get it. It's just like they wanted Arnold to live at the end. That's all they wanted. And they were like, he gets thrown into liquid metal and now he's liquid metal. And it doesn't make any sense. The last of this movie doesn't make sense. That's the problem with this movie. It's just that, yeah, there's things in the first two movies that if you overthink it, it doesn't make sense. But that's if you overthink it. In Genisys, if you just think about it, it doesn't make sense. That's where it doesn't work. They were able to tell compelling enough stories in the first two films to where, yeah, if you would think about it, some of the time travel is a little weird, but they don't over-explain it in their movies. So they keep all that jumble, all the technical jargon to a minimum, so you're able to buy into all this stuff, and yeah, the stories feel solid, and they don't feel like there's problems with them. With this one, every scene had like somebody trying to explain in a convoluted manner. Like that one scene, also wait, okay, sorry for just moving around like this, but how are they able to build a time machine in 1984? What? That makes no sense. But either way, in that scene, when Arnold's explaining the whole alternate memory from the alternate timeline, because Kyle had that alternate memory when he was being transported back in time, I was just like, what are you talking about? It's, what? You're getting way too technical to where it's not even... I know they tried to play it off as a jokey manner by having the characters be like, what are you saying? It just felt stupid to me. It just felt dumb. Also with this movie, they want it to be the start of this new trilogy, but the movie ends pretty finally. Like, I know there's the mid-credit scene that shows that Skynet's still around and there's still a bit of Skynet left to wreak havoc in future sequels, but when that happened, when that mid-credit scene happened, I just sighed and it's like, fucking course. Like, really? This movie ended in a weird way where I was like, this is supposed to be the start of a new trilogy, and yeah, you got Sarah and Kyle going on their way with the Arnold Terminator. But it's like, so what now? Skyline's going to rebuild itself and do another time travel convoluted thing and mess with... I don't... Where's it to go now? They didn't even really leave it open for a sequel, if that makes any... They left it open-ended. They didn't leave it, like, building up to a sequel, if that makes any sense. So it's like, where are you going to go after this? I don't want to follow this anymore. Just let it end, please. Because that's what Terminator Genisys is, man. It's just all these convoluted plot threads that don't work and don't come together well and don't make a whole lot of sense at all, culminating in a movie that is messy, jumbled, screws with the timeline of two of the best movies ever made, and takes your hero character, the prophesized leader of the resistance, the guy who saved the day, turns him into a villain, and then kills him, because who needs him? It's just, I think that's about all I got. There's probably more stuff I'm missing, more convoluted stuff with, like, the Genisys program, which for some reason, I don't know, I don't want to talk about it. There's so much stuff, it's just messy, and just gives me a headache when I'm thinking too hard about it. So yeah, that's my spoiler talk on Terminator Genisys. Again, I probably could talk about more of this, but I don't want to. I got my main points in. My main points including the timeline, the first timeline, not the 1984 one, not the new 1984 one. First timeline, got that out of the way. And so I talked about the main points. That's good enough. And yeah, that's my spoiler talk on Terminator Genisys. Happy to be done talking about this movie now. So, until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.